So today, I'm ranking each Justice League member on how they'd handle this absolute nightmare scenario. We've got 5 tiers: dominates, thrives, survives, struggles, and dies horribly. And yeah, some of your favorite heroes are going to end up as flood biomass or Covenant target practice. This is just my take on what would happen, so don't lose your mind when I put your favorite cape in the wrong tier. Let me start with Superman, and honestly, he's going straight into dominates. This one's almost too easy. The Man of Steel would be an absolute game changer in the Halo universe. Think about it. Covenant plasma weaponry? He's tanked solar flares, their energy shields. He's punched through dimensional barriers. Even their most powerful ships would struggle against someone who can fly faster than light and hit harder than a Mac cannon. The UNSC would worship him like a living legend. Imagine Superman showing up during the Battle of Reach, casually deflecting plasma bombardment while carrying entire Pelican dropships to safety. The Covenant would probably think he's some kind of Forerunner construct or ancient guardian. Their religious zealotry would hit a brick wall when they realize this one being can single-handedly destroy their fleets. But here's where it gets really interesting. Superman's greatest strength in the Halo universe wouldn't be his powers, it would be his moral compass. The UNSC has done some pretty dark things to win this war, kidnapping children for the Spartan program, glassing their own colonies to stop flood outbreaks, working with known war criminals. Superman would force them to be better. He'd show them that you don't have to become monsters to fight monsters. The flood would be his biggest challenge, but even then, Superman's dealt with similar threats before. Brainiac, Doomsday, Darkseid's parademons. The key difference is, Superman doesn't need to get close to fight. He can use heat vision from orbit, freeze entire flood forms with his breath, and move faster than their infection forms could ever hope to catch him. Plus, his Kryptonian biology might make him completely immune to flood infection in the first place. Batman slides into survives, and before you start typing angry comments, hear me out. Bruce Wayne is the ultimate strategist, and in a universe where information warfare can mean the difference between survival and extinction, that's invaluable. The Dark Knight would become the UNSC's greatest intelligence asset. He'd be the one figuring out Covenant battle patterns, predicting flood outbreak zones, and maybe even cracking Forerunner technology. But Batman's got some serious limitations here. His gadgets are impressive by Earth standards, but Covenant technology is centuries ahead of anything he's used to. His grappling hook won't help much when Banshees are strafing his position with fuel rod cannons. His armored suit might stop small arms fire, but it's not going to protect him from a hunter's assault cannon or a brute's gravity hammer. Still, Batman would adapt. He always does. I could see him working closely with ONI, maybe even becoming their top field operative. He'd probably steal Covenant cloaking technology within his first week and reverse engineer it into something even better. The man who figured out how to take down Superman would definitely find ways to exploit Covenant weaknesses. His biggest asset would be his ability to inspire others. The UNSC Marines are already pretty tough, but imagine them trained by Batman. He turned ordinary soldiers into shadows, teaching them to use fear as a weapon. Just like he does, Covenant forces would start finding their patrols taken out silently, one by one, never knowing what hit them. Wonder Woman lands firmly and dominates. Diana is a warrior goddess, and the Halo universe is basically one giant war zone. She'd fit right in. Her strength puts her on par with Spartans, maybe even exceeding them. Her speed lets her dodge plasma fire like it's standing still. Her lasso could probably restrain a hunter, and her sword has cut through materials that make Covenant armor look like tissue paper. The Amazons have been fighting wars for thousands of years, so Diana understands military strategy on a level that most heroes don't. She'd quickly earn the respect of every UNSC commander and probably end up leading entire campaigns. Picture Wonder Woman charging through Covenant lines on some distant world, deflecting plasma bolts with her bracelets while Marines rally behind her. But here's what makes her truly dangerous in this universe. Wonder Woman has dealt with gods before. The Covenant worships the Forerunners as divine beings, but Diana's fought actual deities and won. She wouldn't be intimidated by their religious fanaticism or their advanced technology. To her, they'd just be another group of false prophets that need to be stopped. The Flood would struggle against her too. Her divine nature might make her resistant to infection, and her combat experience against supernatural threats would give her an edge. She's fought demons, undead armies, and creatures from other dimensions. A parasitic alien species would be Tuesday for her. The Flash drops into thrives, and this might surprise some of you. Barry Allen's Speed Force abilities would make him incredibly valuable in the Halo universe, but not necessarily as a frontline fighter. Think about it. The Flash could deliver supplies to besieged colonies faster than any UNSC ship. He could evacuate entire cities before Covenant glassing beams hit. He could scout enemy positions and report back before they even knew he was there. His time manipulation abilities would be game-changing during crucial battles. Imagine the Flash creating time loops during the fall of Reach, giving the UNSC multiple chances to save the planet, or picture him vibrating through Covenant shields to plant explosives directly on their ship's reactors. But Barry's got some serious challenges here. His moral code would clash with UNSC tactics, just like Superman's would. He'd struggle with the military's willingness to sacrifice civilian populations to stop flood outbreaks, and his powers, while incredible, don't necessarily scale up to the massive conflicts that define the human Covenant war. The Speed Force also creates some interesting questions. Would it work the same way in the Halo universe? Could Covenant or Forerunner technology interfere with it? These are unknowns that could either make him more powerful or severely limit his abilities. Green Lantern. John Stewart goes into thrives as well. His military background would mesh perfectly with UNSC operations, and his power ring would be incredibly versatile in space combat. Imagine Green Lantern constructs reinforcing UNSC battle groups or creating massive shields to protect fleeing civilian ships. The ring's ability to translate alien languages would make him invaluable for intelligence gathering. He could potentially communicate with Covenant species that aren't completely fanatical, maybe even convince some of them to defect. His constructs could also replicate Covenant or Forerunner technology once he understood how they worked. But John's got the same problem as any Lantern. His power depends on willpower, and the Halo universe is designed to break people's spirits. Watching entire worlds burn, seeing humanity pushed to the brink of extinction, dealing with the moral compromises required for survival. All of that would test his resolve in ways he's never experienced before. The ring itself might also be a liability. Covenant forces would definitely try to capture or study it, and who knows what kind of attention it might draw from Forerunner installations or flood intelligence forms. Aquaman sinks straight into dies horribly, and this one's painful but realistic. Arthur Curry's powers are completely useless in the vacuum of space, and most Halo conflicts happen either in space or on worlds with minimal water coverage. His ability to breathe underwater means nothing when Covenant ships are glassing oceans from orbit. His telepathic connection to sea life becomes worthless when there are no fish left to command. The Trident might be able to pierce Covenant armor, but that requires getting close enough to use it. Against enemies with energy weapons, active camouflage, and orbital support, that's basically impossible. Aquaman's enhanced strength and durability put him roughly on par with an unarmored Spartan, which sounds impressive until you realize that even Spartans get overwhelmed and killed regularly. His biggest problem is mobility. While other heroes can fly or run at superhuman speeds, Aquaman is stuck moving at normal human pace on land. That makes him an easy target for Banshee strafing runs or Wraith mortar fire. The moment he steps onto a battlefield, he's basically a sitting duck with a fancy fork. The Flood would absolutely demolish him. His enhanced physiology might make him a particularly valuable host, but it won't protect him from infection. One combat form gets close enough to stab him with an infection form, and suddenly the Flood has access to all his abilities and knowledge. Cyborg lands and survives, but just barely. Victor Stone's technological integration would be both his greatest asset and his biggest liability in the Halo universe. On the positive side, his cybernetics would let him interface directly with UNSC systems, potentially even hacking Covenant technology if he could get close enough to it. His built-in weapon systems would be effective against infantry targets, but they're not going to scratch a Wraith tank or a Covenant cruiser. His flight capabilities are limited compared to other heroes, making him vulnerable to anti-aircraft fire. His strength is impressive by human standards, but nothing compared to what Spartans can accomplish in powered armor. The real danger for Cyborg is the Flood. His technological components make him a perfect target for Flood infection. The parasites have shown they can corrupt and control artificial intelligence systems, and Cyborg's brain-computer interface gives them a direct pathway to his consciousness, one successful infection, and he becomes a walking nightmare, turning all his defensive systems against human forces. His best bet for survival would be staying far away from any Flood contamination zones and focusing on support roles. Electronic warfare, communications, maybe coordinating orbital strikes from UNSC ships. He'd be valuable as a technical specialist, but couldn't survive direct combat for long. Martian Manhunter drops into struggles, which might surprise you given his incredible power set. John Johns has strength rivaling Superman, telepathic abilities that could revolutionize intelligence gathering, and shape-shifting that would make him the perfect infiltrator. In theory, he should dominate this universe. But theory crashes hard against his one crippling weakness: fire. The Halo universe runs on plasma weaponry. Covenant weapons are essentially controlled fire projectiles. Forerunner weapons frequently use thermal energy. Even human weapons like flamethrowers become deadly threats to him. Every single engagement puts him at risk of encountering his greatest fear and weakness. His telepathic abilities would be incredibly valuable for interrogating captured Covenant forces or detecting Flood infection before it spreads. His shape-shifting would let him infiltrate Covenant ships or installations with ease, but all of that becomes meaningless the moment someone points a plasma rifle in his direction. The psychological trauma would be just as bad as the physical danger. John has already experienced the loss of his entire species. Watching humanity face potential extinction would trigger all those old wounds. His empathic abilities would force him to feel the terror and despair of every human facing Covenant invasion or Flood infection. He might find a niche working with ONI on intelligence operations, staying far from frontline combat. But even then, the constant threat of fire-based weapons would make every mission a potential death sentence. His survival would depend entirely on avoiding direct confrontation. Hawkgirl soars into thrives, and this might be the most interesting placement on the list. Shayera Hall's Thanagarian background gives her experience with interstellar warfare and alien technology that most Earth heroes lack. Her mace can disrupt energy fields and has proven effective against highly advanced opponents. Her flight gives her mobility that most ground-based forces can't match. Her warrior mentality fits perfectly with UNSC military culture. She understands that sometimes you have to make hard choices to win wars. She wouldn't hesitate to use lethal force against Covenant attackers or make the difficult decision to sacrifice a few to save many. That pragmatic approach would earn her respect among UNSC commanders who are tired of dealing with heroes who won't do what's necessary. The nth metal in her equipment provides some interesting possibilities. It's shown resistance to various forms of energy manipulation and might offer protection against Covenant plasma weapons. It could potentially interfere with Flood infection processes or provide shielding against Forerunner technology. Her biggest advantage would be in space combat. While most heroes struggle in zero-gravity environments, Hawkgirl's flight powers make her perfectly suited for boarding actions against Covenant ships. Picture her leading Spartan teams in assaults on Covenant carriers, using her mace to tear through bulkheads while Marines follow in her wake. The Flood would still pose a significant threat, but her aerial mobility and energy weapons would let her engage them from range. She's also ruthless enough to make the hard choice of abandoning infected areas rather than trying to save everyone. Green Arrow gets sorted into dyes horribly, and this one's almost as bad as Aquaman. Oliver Queen brings absolutely nothing to the table that the UNSC doesn't already have in better forms. His archery skills are impressive by normal standards, but completely useless against enemies with energy shields and advanced armor. His trick arrows might work against human criminals, but they're toys compared to Covenant weaponry. An EMP arrow won't shut down plasma rifles, a net arrow won't stop a hunter pair, an explosive arrow won't penetrate elite energy shields. He's bringing medieval weapons to a science fiction war. His lack of enhanced durability makes him incredibly fragile on Halo battlefields. One plasma bolt ends his story permanently. One needler round and he's done. Even friendly fire from UNSC weapons could kill him easily. He'd last maybe 5 minutes in actual combat before something vaporized him. The UNSC has snipers with rifles that can punch through tank armor at ridiculous ranges. They have soldiers with rocket launchers and energy weapons. What exactly is Oliver Queen supposed to contribute? His leadership skills might be useful in small-scale operations, but he'd never survive long enough to demonstrate them. Against the Flood, he'd be completely helpless. His arrows would just give infection forms more projectiles to use against other humans. His athletic but otherwise normal human physiology makes him an ideal host for Flood spores. He'd be converted into biomass faster than you could say, "You have failed this city." The Flash creates some fascinating scenarios that most people don't consider. His connection to the Speed Force means he could potentially outrun Covenant glassing beams, which travel at light speed. Think about that for a second. He could literally evacuate entire planetary populations before the plasma even hits the surface. During the Battle of Earth, Barry could have saved millions of lives just by moving faster than physics should allow. But here's where things get complicated. The Speed Force exists outside normal space-time, which raises questions about how it would interact with Forerunner technology. These ancient aliens built weapons that manipulate time and space on galactic scales. What happens when Barry tries to time travel in a universe where the Halo array can reset causality itself? The temporal mechanics could either amplify his powers beyond imagination or trap him in some kind of chronological loop. His biggest contribution would be intelligence gathering. The Flash could infiltrate Covenant High Charity, steal their battle plans, and be back on Earth before their sensors even registered his presence. He could map every Forerunner installation in the galaxy within hours. That kind of strategic advantage would be absolutely game-changing for the UNSC. And magic creates some weird problems in the Halo universe. Her backwards incantations can alter reality itself, which sounds incredibly powerful until you realize what she's up against. Forerunner technology operates on principles that might as well be magic already. They built machines that can think stars into existence and weapons that rewrite the fundamental laws of physics. The bigger issue is that magic in the DC universe follows certain rules, but the Halo universe runs on hard science fiction principles. Would her spells even work the same way? Could Covenant energy shields block magical attacks? Would Forerunner constructs be immune to reality alteration? These unknowns make her effectiveness completely unpredictable. Against the Flood, magic presents interesting possibilities. She could potentially transmute infected biomass back into normal matter or create barriers that block spore transmission. But the Flood has consumed civilizations that had technology indistinguishable from magic. They've learned to adapt to literally everything the galaxy could throw at them. Her survival would depend entirely on staying away from direct combat and focusing on support roles. Teleportation spells could revolutionize UNSC logistics. Healing magic could keep Spartans fighting longer. But one mistake, one spell that backfires or doesn't work as expected, and she becomes another casualty in humanity's desperate war for survival. Booster Gold drops in to survive through sheer dumb luck and future technology. Michael John Carter brings 25th century equipment to a 26th century war, which actually puts him closer to the technological level than most heroes. His force field could potentially deflect plasma fire. His flight ring gives him mobility. His energy blasters might actually damage Covenant armor. But Booster's greatest asset isn't his gear, it's his knowledge of history. He knows how wars are supposed to end. He understands the broader patterns of conflict and might be able to predict Covenant strategies or identify crucial turning points in battles. That kind of strategic foresight would make him invaluable to UNSC command. The problem is Booster's personality. He's used to being a celebrity hero in a relatively safe time period. The Halo universe would crush his ego and his spirit. Watching entire civilizations burn, seeing children turned into super soldiers, dealing with the moral compromises required for species survival. It would break him psychologically long before enemy fire killed him physically. His survival depends on finding a niche where his future knowledge and technology matter more than his combat skills. Maybe working with ONI on long-term strategic planning, maybe using his historical knowledge to locate hidden Forerunner installations. But he'd hate every second of it. Dr. Fate ascends to dominate, and this placement might shock some people. Nabu's magic operates on cosmic scales that dwarf even Forerunner technology. The Lords of Order have been manipulating reality since before the universe was young. Kent Nelson channeling that power could potentially rewrite the entire Human Covenant war. His magical abilities would be completely outside Covenant understanding. Their energy shields are designed to stop plasma and kinetic projectiles, not mystical bolts that ignore physical laws. Their sensors can track ships and soldiers, but can they detect someone who exists partially outside normal space-time? Probably not. Against the Flood, Dr. Fate becomes even more valuable. The parasites corrupt biological and technological systems, but they've never encountered pure magical energy before Nabu's power could potentially cleanse entire worlds of flood infection or create barriers that prevent spore transmission across star systems. The real game changer would be his ability to manipulate probability and fate itself. What if the Covenant never discovered humanity's location? What if the Forerunners never built the Halo array? What if the Flood never escaped containment? Dr. Fate could potentially rewrite history to prevent the war from happening in the first place. But that kind of power comes with cosmic responsibility. The Lords of Order don't intervene lightly, and changing the fundamental course of galactic history might violate their principles. Kent Nelson would have to choose between saving humanity and maintaining the natural order of the universe. So there you have it. From Superman dominating the galaxy to Green Arrow becoming grunt food in 5 seconds flat. The Justice League's survival in the Halo universe comes down to one brutal truth. Power means nothing without the willingness to use it, and moral codes become luxuries humanity can't afford when extinction is on the table. Some heroes would rise to become legends that inspire hope across 1,000 worlds. Others would crack under the pressure of watching civilizations burn while making impossible choices between survival and staying human. The real question is, which Justice League member would surprise everyone by thriving in the chaos, and who would break your heart by falling when the galaxy needed them most?